It's only notes.
We're working on distributive property. And number 20, I put here for a very specific reason. And that's because some students add these two numbers in front, and you cannot do that. So I put this here on purpose to try to trick you. You can't add those numbers. You have to distribute first. So distribute first every time. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, and then combine like terms. You guys have any questions about that one? Anything at all? Did I do it right? Does it look okay to you? No one's gonna answer me. Just gonna stand up here low. Anyone else get -6? Okay. Okay. All right. Now this guy. So I'm gonna distribute this, and I'm also going to distribute this. This one has double distribution, and I'm going to distribute the negative here on that part. So this is going to become -7x. -7 times 4 is -28. And then I have to be really careful here. Negative times a negative is a positive. So plus 7x. Negative times a negative is a positive. Plus 3 equals 2. Okay, combine like terms. So I'm going to combine these two and combine those two. -7x and 7x cancel. So that's just nothing. You can cross them out if you like. -28 plus 3 is -25 equals 2. Now, I've done a lot of math in my life. I do math like, let's say, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I've never come up with a time when -25 equals 2. Those two never equal each other, even with all the math I've done. So the answer is no solution. Now let's say I got 2 equals 2. Let's just pretend I got 2 equals 2. What would I put? Infinite solutions, yeah. So you have kind of 3 different situations. If you have this would be infinite solutions. And if you have this, you have x equals 0. Those are kind of the 3 different weird possibilities. Just to remind you of those. We're getting close on these warm-ups, people. Okay, so I need everybody to make sure they have a calculator out today. We're going to do a lot of stuff with calculator today. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so what did we work on yesterday? Does anybody remember what we worked on yesterday? You're like, it was Monday, it was the morning, we were tired. And we worked on two things. We worked on distributing in equations, and we worked on putting an area model in equations. Do you remember? How we had to like make the box and then solve for X? Remember that? Does anybody except for the one person that? So today, we're going to extend our solving equations into fractions and decimals. What do you do when you have equations that have fractions and decimals in them? How do you solve those? I know fractions are your favorite. They both start with F, fraction and favorite. So I know that's how you feel about them. Everybody loves them oh so much. Decimals really aren't that big of a deal if you have a calculator. So I scooch my paper over here. And we're just going to solve this guy like we normally would, except for that we're going to use a calculator with the decimals. It's just not a big deal. So for number 120, we're also going to check them though. So I want to actually do the solve and check with these. So first thing I notice is that I need to distribute. And 0.4 times x is just 0.4x. That's not a big deal. 0.4 times 2. Everybody okay so far? Okay, now when I have variables on both sides, I like to undo the one with the letter on it that's the lowest first. So I'm going to undo this first. Okay, I got 7, which is comforting, I suppose. Now I'm going to plug the 7 back in for x and do the check. So 0.4 times 7 minus 2 equals 3.4 minus 0.2 times 7. Okay, now what I really want to make sure is that you understand that when you have numbers, you don't need to distribute. This is just 0.4 times 5, or you can use the parentheses buttons on your calculator to just enter in the whole side. So I put in the left side and I put in the right side. and they check. You guys have parentheses on your calculators, right? Usually they're right above the 8 and the 9. Like right here. Any questions about number 120? Are you sure? Okay. Now let's do 121. Do you guys need a second to write it down or do you have it already? You have it? No? You need a second? Okay. Okay, now on the surface, this one looks a little bit scary. I promise you it's not that bad. I just tried to make it look scary on purpose. Do you guys see any like terms that I can combine? Do you see these two guys? Okay, so I'm going to make a little arrow to show that I'm combining those. Okay. What do you notice about the x squareds? Yeah, they cancel out, right? And I told you guys yesterday, they will always cancel out in math 1. Now it looks much better. The answer comes out a little wonky. Okay, so this is kind of the moment in the school year where I'm like, you cannot expect to get whole number answers for all of your equations anymore. You just can't. You can't get scared by decimals and fractions being in your answers. It's okay. Happens all the time. It's not a big deal. All right, so now we're going to practice checking this. This is a kind of a spicy one to check. Okay, so my first request is that you write this down. I took the very original problem and plugged in the 2.15 into all of the x's. Okay, after you write it down, I'm going to practice on the calculator. Okay, what I'm going to do is type negative 7.5 parenthesis 2.15 parenthesis squared plus 4.8 parenthesis 2.15 parenthesis minus 0.3. I typed in the entire left side of the equation in one fell swoop. Does anybody know Tom Segura and the one fell swoop comedy thing? Yeah, you just YouTube it later. It's fun. Okay, anyway, this guy complains about his wife not knowing what one fell swoop means. Okay, so I got negative 24.64875. Did anybody else get that? Yes? Anyone? Yes? Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to type in the other side of the equation, 2.5 times 2.15 squared plus 10.02 minus 10 times 2.15 squared. Moment of truth. Okay. Before we move on, does anyone need help with their particular calculator? Because there's a lot of different calculators out there. Does anyone need assistance with their particular type of calculator? I'm more than happy to help. Yes. Oh, yeah, carrot sign. So what does yours have? It has something. Right there. Or there. Anyone else? Assistance, calculator assistance? Sure. You good? You guys found the parentheses is? Okay, so this is what I would like you to do. I would like you to set up number 122 and 123. I would like you to do number 122 on your own and show the check. Again, don't do 123. That one's for all of us to do together. Do number 122 on your own and show the check. Hey, you guys, don't look at the screen unless you're ready. How do we do? Okay, great. All right, so now I want to do number 123, and we're gonna do another problem after this, which is gonna be notes on this. This is called fraction busting, and it's super important. We fraction bust all the time in Math 3. I just can't even tell you how important it is. So we're gonna go slow on this one. You're going to need the calculator for sure. The first question I have for you is, in this problem, what's the least common denominator? This is a blast from the past question, but what number does 6 and 8 both go into? 24. Okay, so somewhere near the problem, put least common denominator equals 24. Okay, now if you don't get the least common denominator correct, it doesn't really matter on these. You could just multiply the 6 and 8 and get 48, and it just get a common denominator. It doesn't have to be the least common denominator. It'll work. But the least common denominator is good because it makes your numbers as small as possible. I mean, you have a calculator, so okay. So first step is to find the least common denominator. And the second step is to multiply all of the numerators, the tops, by the least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply all of the tops by 24. It's like multiplying the whole thing by 24. Okay, and on this one, you need to imagine that the 4 is over 1. Okay, so right here, I have 24 times x, so 24x over 6 minus, okay, now on this one, I need to do 24 times 5, which is 120 over 8 equals, and then 24 times 4 is 96. Okay. Step 2 is then to divide the fractions. This is kind of the moment of truth. If you did it right, you should get whole numbers now. So 24 divided by 6, that's easy. That's 4. What's 120 divided by 8? 15. And now you have whole numbers. Okay, now in a problem like this, I'm going to leave my answer a fraction because the problem were fractions. You can turn it into a decimal and do the check if you're ever worried about it, but I like to leave it as a fraction. It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So like whatever starts in fraction stays in fraction. But that's just my preference. Okay, we're gonna do one more of these to practice this fraction busting kind of method. And then we're done, which is great. Okay. Step one. What is the least common denominator in this problem? 6. Okay. First, think of the least common denominator and then multiply all of the numerators, the tops, by the least common denominator. I'm going to write the problem over so that because it's notes, I want to see exactly what happens to each thing. Okay. Step 2 is to divide each of the fractions. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. 90 divided by 2 is 45. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, now I need you guys to find the homework. The homework is a worksheet in your packet. It's 8 problems called the Fraction Busters worksheet. I'm going to help you do 3 of the problems, 1, 3, and 7. So we're going to start working on your homework now together. And we're gonna work on problems 1, 3, and 7 together. Okay. Number 1, what is the least common denominator? 10. Can you guys all see that it's 10? Okay, now the little interesting thing about number 1, so we're gonna multiply all of the tops by 10, but you can't forget the little n that's there by himself. You have to multiply everybody by 10. Don't forget n. Can I do this without a calculator? I'm not sure. Okay, so negative 390 over 10. The negative's kind of in the front, huh? Equals 10n minus 30 over 2 minus 90 over 5. You know, like sometimes when you deep clean your room, it gets in like the worse before it gets better stage. Like you just dump out all of your drawers or whatnot. This I feel like is in the worse before it gets better stage right here. Like it looks more complicated than it started with. Okay, so now we divide. So this is negative 39 equals 10n minus 15. I don't know what that is. 18 apparently. Okay, and then now you've got a regular equation. Combine like terms. Okay, now the answers are on the other side. Flip the packet over real quick. Check the answer for number 1. Did we do it right? Yep. Okay. The reason I wanted to do number 3 is because this is a different type of problem. This is a proportion. Proportions just have a fraction equals a fraction. So to bust proportions, you cross multiply. Can somebody check the answer for number 3? It's 45. Am I on fire over here? Okay, now my next question, there's one more proportion on this page. Can you tell which other problem should be cross multiplied? Which number out of the 1 through 8? 6. Okay, so number 6 is not a regular fraction buster. It's a proportion. So you need to cross multiply that one. Okay, now we're going to go down to number 7. And we're going to start it because I don't know if you noticed, there's some distributive property happening here. So I at least want to get it going with you. The numbers on this one are going to be awful. That's okay, because I have this magical tool right here that's going to help me with all of that stuff. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is distribute on this one. And what I want you to know is that the 7 only goes to the tops. I don't know, whatever Econ's doing, it sounds fun. Okay, what's the least common denominator between 2, 6, and 5? I think it's 30. I don't think there's anything lower than that. Yeah. This is going to make some numbers on here, people. This is definitely in the worst before it gets better stage. So your calculators, all of them, in some way, shape, or form, have the ability to take a decimal and turn it into a fraction. On my calculator, I just have to hit the math menu, and then right here, it says turn it into a fraction. So if you hit the math button, the very first thing will take whatever decimal you have and turn it into a fraction. All of the calculators I've seen you guys have that ability, and I can help you do it. But it's really not that big of a deal. On this one, I really wanted to do it because it was a repeating decimal, and I hate repeating decimals. But anyway, if you're using one of my calculators, just hit the math button, and then the first thing that comes up is fraction. Okay, so you guys have 12 minutes. Keep working on this page, please, and thank you. Did we get the answer correct though? Did we check it? We did? Okay.